So much like 10 years ago, I am not where I typically would be to make videos, but also 10 years ago was the very last episode of the Lizzie Bennet Diaries. If you have been around any content that I have made over the last 10 years, I'm sure you've heard me mention the Lizzie Bennet Diaries before. The actress who portrayed Lizzie Bennet in this adaptation, Ashley Clements, has been doing something to commemorate the 10 years by doing something called the Look Back Diaries, where she's giving different little behind the scenes looks at the different episodes and having different people come on and talk about kind of the process that they went through to create the episodes. And while technically the Look Back Diaries are not finishing yet, because there's still 2 bonus episodes that Ashley intends to talk about, as well as provide some other behind the scenes looks. This is the day 10 years ago that the final episode 100 of the initial series was posted. And I made a video on this day 10 years ago talking about how I felt about all of that and just kind of the way, just kind of talking about the topics that Lizzie was talking about and the way that impacted some of how I was making content. And so now I'm going to go and watch the final, the episode 100 of the Look Back Diaries. And I'll come back and I'll share a little bit of my thoughts. It's been really cool to hear the different stories that Ashley and the different cast and writers have been able to share through the Look Back Diaries. And I think it's also awesome that there is more content available on Ashley's Patreon. I'm always amazed at what these different people like Mary Kate and different members of Shipwrecked Comedy and just so many different content creators that use Patreon and how it is that they utilize it. And so hearing Ashley kind of share a little bit of what she's been able to do and that there are more things to come, because Ashley has done a lot of stuff over the last 10 years since the Lizzie Bennet Diaries. And it's been very cool to see what she comes up with, because she's a very talented human being, and it's cool seeing the different ways that she is diving into this world. And I didn't know until watching this episode that she has a theater background. And I think there is a level of stage theater that that does help impact the video kind of theater. I remember when I was making some short films and whatnot, one of my very close creative partners, she was also a very big stage theater person, and it was always really funny watching her try to figure out, is this too much or is this just enough as far as expressions and whatnot go. And so that is kind of cool. And so I think it's cool hearing from stage production people how they adapt things for the screen production projects that they get to work on. It's crazy to think that it's been 10 years. I was 19 when it started, and then I turned 20 during the time that that LBD was happening. And so by the time that it was done, I was 20. And thinking about how much I've changed over the last 10 years and the way that I look at content and how I choose to create it. And in the video that I posted 10 years ago, which will be plugged somewhere, whether that's down below or in one of the corners, it's interesting just seeing how much things have changed. There are some things that haven't changed, periodically making videos like this. I'm still selective about what I make and what I post, which was also the case back then. But I don't know. I still hope for those who have stuck around and watched over the last 10 years that y'all are still going to be interested in the things that I share. Even though it's been 10 years since the Lizzie Bennet Diaries happened, I still feel that kinship with Lizzie Bennet because I still feel a level of kinship with the novel. Let's be honest, 100 episodes. Not even like, we're not even touching the bonus content that comes from the Lydia Bennet channel, or the videos that Gigi made, or the ones that Charlotte's sister made. Like, not even touching that. It's a lot of content just to watch simply the 100 episodes. We're also not touching the Q&As. Like, that's a lot of content. I know I recently, and I say recently, it's been like a couple months since I did it, because I decided to rewatch it for the 210th anniversary of the publication of the novel. There are things that people have their issues with because, you know, it's a modern adaptation, so there's going to be plenty of things that are not the same. But I think it does a really good job of taking the novel and bringing it into a modern audience, a modern setting, and it just shows the universal themes that exist within the novel, and I love that about Austen's work. It's one of the reasons why she is one of my favorite authors. Those are my thoughts. It's still worth watching 10 years later, because I rewatch it periodically. Sometimes it's not like the whole thing, it's just like part of it. But yeah. So if you've never ever watched the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, I recommend it. That's it for me. If you like this video, please like, comment, and share. And I will see you next video. Bye.
Don't